And of course, the video. I was gonna say, video doesn't want to play. Here we go.
Bro, like turn around. Bro, no, hold on. I think it's gonna crash, bro. Holy.
¡Oh my God!
Ay,
Lo estoy diciendo, Dios mío.
pero. Vamos a ver.
Papi, cuidado.
Espérate.
Ay, Dios mío, señor. ¡Candela, papi!
A lot of smoke right there, huh? A lot of smoke right there. Unbelievable.
Well, dozens of federal officials are now in Louisville, Kentucky to investigate after a UPS cargo plane crashed there yesterday.
At least 11 people are dead, and Kentucky's governor says that number could rise. Fox's Asher Red is in Louisville tonight. Asher, the plane crashed shortly after takeoff. It was really heartbreaking to see some of the video from yesterday.
Well, Kelsey and Simone, the National Transportation Safety Board recovered the plane's black box today from the crash site, and that could give investigators crucial clues as to how this plane went down in the first place. This UPS plane was headed to Hawaii, and officials say it was loaded with more than 200,000 pounds of jet fuel. The plane's left wing caught on fire during takeoff, and moments later, the plane crashed in a massive fireball just south of the Muhammad Ali International Airport here in Louisville. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear says the plane hit a petroleum recycling building and an auto parts store. At least 11 people are dead, including the three crew members on board and a child, and the governor says that number could go higher. Several people may still be missing.
I want to start by acknowledging the impressive work of so many fire departments that took what was a blazing inferno, created by a plane with 38,000 gallons of fuel, of aviation fuel, and were able to contain it. It could have.
Wow, so this guy says 38,000 gallons of fuel?
And we're able to of aviation fuel, and we're of aviation fuel in gallons.
Damn, if I can catch it.
The impressive work of so many fire departments that took what was a blazing inferno, created by a plane with 38,000 gallons of fuel.
38,000 gallons of fuel. Check this out. We're going to skip ahead a little bit here. 38,000 gallons of fuel when fireball equals 38, fire equals 38, and this was on Tuesday, the 308th day of the year. And that's what they're saying? That's what they're saying? Oh, originally, look at this. Originally, they say leaving 7 dead when fire equals 70 in the reverse cipher, which is like 7. Come on, right? Right? Come on. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of other stuff that's connected. The last time I did a UPS story, I took this slide from that story. It was back in April. Check this out. UPS to cut 20,000 jobs, close some facilities as it reduces amount of Amazon shipments it handles. United Parcel Service, when you reduce the alphabet in reverse, 115, and parcels equals 115. This is trending on November 5th, 115, 1 day after this explosion and this UPS plane. You see that right there? Look at how the numbers line up from that April story with UPS, and it just recycles, and now you get this event happening, and it's all by the numbers. This is one of those stories. This is one of those stories that it's just easy to decode without even going over all the script. And I was trying to pull this up for you. You see this right here? 1 day after the crash, look, 115, Wednesday. You see that right there? And this, oh yeah, you see right there? April 29. I know it says July 5 there. That was I think the founding anniversary of Amazon. But you can see the April 29 date up there, which that trending story was from. And we're going to come back to this slide again. Let me leave that there for a second since I kind of bounced around. And they update the article. Let me refresh it. I think they say 12 dead now. Let me refresh. If it refreshes, but I think it's up to 12 now. Yeah, 12 dead after engine fell off UPS plane that crashed and exploded in Kentucky. Right? A UPS cargo plane's left wing caught fire and the engine fell off just before it crashed and exploded. After takeoff in Kentucky, a federal officer said Wednesday, offering the first investigative details about a disaster that killed at least 12 people, they're saying now. Finding survivors seemed unlikely as first responders searched the charred area of the crash. And I guess I had the article date right there. So you see the 115. Remember, killing equals 115 in the language as well. Notice that Kentucky was founded on the first day of the 6th month. 16, UPS equals 16. And Kentucky equals 106, which is like 16. The upcoming birthday for Kentucky also has 16 numerology. Here's where this gets really wild. Again, this was at Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Look at that right there. 156 days after the founding anniversary of Kentucky. If you didn't know, now you know. The 156 prime number is 911. And I told you these stories repeat and history repeats. 911 is associated with some other plane incidents, right? You remember that in 2001, 9/11, towers, planes. You had a couple other, you had some other crashes going on too as well that day. But the towers, and on the 11th day, in that video, if you heard it, they changed it to 11 dead. Now it says 12. The founding anniversary of Kentucky, the 6th month, if you flip the 6, you get that 9. And we may have heard another 9 somewhere along the way in there. All of this energy hitting right now. UPS equals 11. Remember, those two buildings look like an 11. New York, the 11th state. New York equals 111. UPS equals 11. There you see where it said 11 dead. Now it's up to 12. Dick Cheney just died. On September 11, 2001, Vice President Dick Cheney was a central figure in the U.S. government's immediate crisis management and the subsequent shaping of the American response to terrorism. You see that? The September 11 plane attacks. Dick Cheney just dies trending. What are the odds of that? Now, you get this plane story, and it's a UPS plane, and UPS equals 11. If you watch the last video I did where I mentioned some of this stuff, see how it's UPS flight 2976? Some stories say 2976 people died. I think they changed it though with 9/11. And I pointed that out in my previous video. 2976 deaths in 9/11 attacks. You see that right there? And now it says flight 2976 crashed Tuesday, but I think they changed this actually to 2977 now. But I don't know. Look, that's popping up right there. Wow, and look, it's popping up right under that. UPS flight 2976. What are the odds of that? Oh, okay. You know what we need to know? How many days after the 9/11 anniversary was this? On the fly real quick. 9/11 2025. This crash was the 4th. It may not hit, right? Wow, there's that 1 month 24. There's that 124 Richard was bringing up right there, which was somebody's birthday in a recent video. My apologies for I can't remember. There was a lot of characters we were talking about there. 55-day span. Wow, look at that. 7 week, 6-day span from the 9/11 anniversary to this Kentucky plane crash. Remember, skull and bones equals 76. And that goes back to my last video because we have UFC 322 coming up. Skull and Bones, the number 322, associated with that society at Yale. And George W. Bush and his father were, members according to the internet. And George W. Bush was the president during 9/11. So we get the 76, and that all connected with Dick Cheney as well with his death. I think it was vice president that equaled 76, like Skull and Bones, as well as all of these other Skull and Bones connections. Look at that. You see how the stories continue, and they all just sync and repeat, and you get new stories recycled. Now you get the death of Dick Cheney. There's Vice President 76. Look at that right there. Isn't that wild? Remember, fire equals 70, like 7. Originally, they say leaving 7 dead. Then it's bumped up to 11, like 9/11. It might have been 9 at one point as well. You see how that? Oh, and then the 2976, flight 2976. You get that 76 in there as well. And then the 2976 with 9/11 with the amount of dead there, which again, I think it's 2977 now. Notice that 29 right there with flight 2976. That also hit in the April UPS story. You see right here, this is why it's good to kind of save this. Wow, a lot of this stuff hits. Remember, World Trade Center equals 94. Wow, look at that. Amazon was founded July 5th, one day before 7/6. But World Trade Center equals 94. Look at how it hits there. And Amazon founded in, you see 94, you see that 9 week, 4 days before the Amazon founding anniversary was that trending story on Amazon and UPS. Look, when I scroll up, wow, Amazon equals 70. I just caught that right there. Amazon equals 70 like fire. Look at that right there. Wow. And man, and remember, this is UPS to cut 20,000 jobs, close some facilities as it reduces amount of Amazon shipments it handles, trending in April. And now you get a UPS trending again in November with the same numbers. UPS even equals 25, and we're in the year 25. But this is what I wanted to show you. And I showed you in that first slide or second slide because this was trending the following day on 115. Look at United Parcel Service 209.92. Parcels equals 29. Amazon 29 and 92. I almost think I'm going to forget where I was here. But oh, that goes with the 29.76 right there. 29. So the 29 and the 76 hits more than one way right there. So let's kind of get back on track. There's a lot going on with this one, but I'm not going to be here all day. Even Kentucky equals 110 like 11. You see that right there? And what else equals 110? President equals 110. So you get all of these political connections. George W. Bush with 9/11, Dick Cheney dying, who was the vice president. He also served under George W. Bush's father, George H.W. Bush. I can't remember what position. It wasn't vice president at that time, but something to do with like the military or something. Something with the Gulf War or something like that. Something like that. But a lot of good stuff going on here. And I mentioned even Fireball and Fire 38, 3 plus 8 is 11 with this crash on the 308th day of the year, like 38. Louisville, Kentucky was founded in 1778. New York equals 78. So look at how these plane stories connect with 9/11 and now Louisville and Kentucky. Oh, and I forgot to erase that thumbnail from earlier. That was from my last video, but it connects because you get that 322 for Skull and Bones right there. Isn't that amazing? And I can go ahead and just erase that right there. So I mean, wild stuff. So we're going to be seeing a lot of 322, maybe 223. Remember, Skull and Crossbones equals 223. 76 equals Skull and Bones. We'll be seeing probably 149, 202, maybe 41 and 43, which a lot of those numbers. And it's just numbers recycling and repeating. The world is ran on the language. Letters are numbers, algorithms. Everything you do is a freaking number, right? Even Louisville, Kentucky has 105. Remember, Arizona equals 105, and the Arizona baseball team beat the Yankees right after 9/11. Okay, so it doesn't stop. One thing I wanted to show you right here is I showed you that it was 156 days after the founding anniversary of Kentucky. That's a 157-day span if you include both dates. United States equals 157. Uh, wow, because Kobe Bryant also equals 157, and he died in an air-related death. And his dad died on the 15th day of the 7th month. Damn, look at how that hits. Well, I wanted to show you down at the bottom. You see the founding anniversary of Kentucky, June 1st. 6 plus 1 is 7. This crash on 11/4. 11 plus 4 is 15. So you get 157 right there. But notice how 157 days with the span is the same as 22 weeks, 3 days. Kobe Bryant was born in Philadelphia. Philadelphia equals 223. Kobe Bean Bryant equals 54. 22 weeks, 3 days, 157 days is the same as 5 months, 4 days. So you see how this works, don't you? Man, that's wild. Jeez. Okay, so this stuff it's becoming like too, I mean, I know the more I do this, it's like, the more you do it, the better you get. But man, this stuff, you can just be decoded without even going into the script, man. you know and we went over a lot of the script, but I can just go over here. How did the Louisville, Kentucky plane crash happen? They said the engine fell out or whatever. Now they're still saying at least 12 dead. What to know? At least 12 are dead. They said the engine fell out during takeoff. I mean, and even the video is like hard to the video is like hard. I mean, I don't. Are those real people like taking the footage? I don't know, man. Like, it's hard to believe anything we see anymore, to be honest.
Bro, like, bro, no, hold on. I think it's gonna crash, bro.
Holy. It's hard to believe anything we see anymore. Now you see the wrestling. You see the wrestling videos with the AI. They got Kobe Bryant, Tupac, Biggie, like Einstein, Queen Elizabeth II. So UPS was founded August 28th. Let's just put this over here real quick. August 28th. We'll just go like that. I'm not really trying to break that date. What did I do there? August 28th. Oh, let's fix that. 2025. Did it glitch on me? Yeah, it glitched. So even the 9/11 anniversary this year was 14 days after the UPS founding anniversary, and dead equals 14 right there. And look how close that is to 126, Kobe Bryant's death date. The UPS birthday or founding anniversary this year leaves 125 days. Kobe Bryant died 126. Look at that 24. That's the 240th day of the year. Kobe Bryant wore 24 on his jersey. And Kobe Bryant Day is on the 24th. 8/24, one day after his birthday, because he wore 8 and 24 on his jersey. Look at the script, man. Oh, brother. So, there's going to be more here, but in that amount of time, with a lot of this stuff on the fly, you're not going to find a lot of decoders out there catching all of that with slides on the fly as well. You know, and maybe you will, right? There's probably another Kentucky New York connection. How are Kentucky and New York connected? We'll just do that real quick. Through shared time zones, that's not a huge deal. Maybe it is. Look how it says direct flight path. And we're talking about flights. Isn't that amazing? What does that mean, a direct flight path? Like straight? What does a direct flight path mean? Like no interruptions if you fly? A flight that goes from one airport to. That's amazing how they mention a direct flight involving an airport, and this is a crash like at an airport. Isn't that amazing? I think that is kind of amazing there. Oh, and they say, look at the name, Kentucky airport name. They said it was Muhammad something. Muhammad Ali. Let's look. There was a guy named Muhammad connected with 9/11. There was a video I saw on YouTube that pointed that out. I can't remember the channel. Look, this guy was connected to 9/11. Pakistani terrorist and the former head of the propaganda for the Islamist militant group Al Qaeda, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. Look at that right there. So connected to 9/11. Wow, they say Islamist. There's a guy named Islam fighting at UFC 322, which is November 15th. Look at that right there. Woo! 322. There's that skull and bones and that connection to 9/11 and George W. Bush. They say in a biography or a book or something, he admitted he was a member. He even had that interview and that John Kerry interview as well, where they bring it up. Look at that, man. The Society at Yale. Skull and Bones 322. That's amazing. So, I mean, we're out of here, man. That's massive fireball erupts as UPS plane crashes at Kentucky airport. I guess it's up to 12 dead now and some missing, something about an engine falling out. Blah, blah, blah. Until next time, holy crap.